So, hi everybody and welcome back to Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 92 and in this video we continue with our task, which is our player die. And let's get started. And before we start, actually, we go to our horror engine character where we anyway have our code. And I want to fix something which I've made wrong. And let's do this first. We go here to the place where I make the footsteps, and then I used here the switch with the different footsteps, and then I called here the sound, and I forgot just the do once node everyone, because if we reach here the number 10, it can happen that this one is called again and then the sound is played twice, and this is an error. And to avoid this, you just put every time for every step when it's called a do once node right here, do once, and then connect this do once here before this code what we already have, and that's it. A little fix, and this do once node is very handy, very useful when we want only activate a code segment one time. All right, that was the fix, and now let's go back to our real task, which is the player die. And let me show you before what I mean with player die. So first of all, let's start here, fast the game.
Let's see if I find this.
Let's get here our Kraken for test purposes out. And now you are in this situation where the tentacles are here. Normally what you would do is you would now grab a stone and throw it. But let's say you made a misstep. Instead you throw it not. You made a misstep. And I want, when you make a misstep, that the tentacle locates your footstep waves and it's targeting you, which means you die. You failed this level here. Let me show for test purpose. I press here B. Now I made a misstep. You see it goes down. We hear sound and the tentacle comes out here and we die. And that is what we do here. Of course, you can make it much better. This was just for prototype test purposes. And yeah, let's get into this one. So what we have to do is, you see, that is this code here. Not all, this one not. This one comes next time. And this one looks really much, right? But actually, this is just a reuse what we already made. I reused your code. With other words, we have to do almost nothing. Let me show you what I mean with that. This code, what you see here, is already made here down when with the block where I say tentacle teleport to throw destination. That was the thing where we throw the stone and the tentacle is now aiming to the stone destination, right? And we have made this already. The only thing what I have to change is, instead of stone destination, it will now go to our destination, because now he has located us. So we have just to replace this one here. That's handy, which means we can just copy the whole code here. Let's copy this. And we can use it here on top. And let's use this one. And what you have to do is, of course, you can't use it exactly. There is a little bit what you have to change. Again, I use here my test key, which I already created. It's just for test purposes. And what you have to change here is just the teleport. The tentacle, you saw it before, the tentacle goes down, then you hear the scream, and then it will teleport under you, and we have to change this one here. It's very easy actually. You just write here get, because I'm already in the character class, I can just write get actor location, and I can just connect this one here. And that's already the little fix what I have to do. And here a little reminder. Okay, the next thing what you have to do is, of course, connect this one here back to, back to the widget which we created, I think. For example, I created here this widget here from scratch, so I'm not using now the animation widget from this horror engine. You can see the animation widget from the horror engine would be here anywhere. And I replaced this as well. And I showed you also how you can create this widget in one of my other videos. It's very simple. You just create the widget, add to viewport, and then play the animation which we have made on this widget here. You can see this one. So we have made this already too. So you can see I reuse code again. I just connect it now here. You would just connect it here to this widget. So the widget will be activated after we die. This is the next step what you can do. Let's do it. This step here we skip. Then you can see instead of this one, let me use this one here. So this one is the same thing here. On this one we talk next time. So you can see this line here is exactly this line what I just showed you. Just added now the widget here too. But here I want to give you some tips for better coding perhaps too. So let me test this one here. The first thing is when you see something like that here, you can see it goes up, down, here, down. What you can do is all time promote this one to a variable here. Now call this variable accordingly, and then you can use all time this variable in this place and this place, and then you have not a salad like this one, which is sometimes hard to follow. Just as a tip, make this one to make the code a little bit more clean. The next tip what I want to give you is, again, we talked in my last video about a little bit spaghetti code, and here we have a problem. The problem is normally, as you see, when you see something like that, that here is a code and this code is used here as well, right? A normal programmer would say, hey, just make a function about this and reuse it. That's the normal way to go. But here we have a problem. Let's examine fast this code again. The problem is I use here delays, and I said in my last video delays are not working directly with functions. So that's not working. So with other words, when I select all, right click and try to make function here, let's click it, and you can see I get an error because, and when we read here the message, it says delays cannot be used in functions, right? That was the problem one. Then okay, if this is not working, why you are not making a macro? That would be the next solution, good solution, instead of making a macro, because a macro you can recall. It will copy the code again at the place where it is called, so it is performance not so good, but still a macro would look like this one, you see, and I have this here, this little thing. And then I have here this little thing, and it's easy to program. But the problem about this one is there is one more problem. This macro, like I explained to you in my last video, will replace the code what's in the macro. But here we have a little change. So that will not work too. So the last option, just for decoration purposes, what you can really do is, the last option is this collapse nodes. Collapse nodes is just for decoration purposes, which means you can make this one, then you can open this up, connect it accordingly, and yeah, that's it. Makes it very nice. And so in my case, you can use this, and that's would be valid, but I don't use it right now because I'm anyway not finished with this code. But you can use this one here, make it very short, and the code becomes so easy. This whole code here looks later. You can see in my last video I showed you this one and I kicked it out. The whole line of code here was a big block again. It is now just here, and when I double click it, and you can see that's the code what I showed you here. Instead of using it here directly, it is just here in this little place, which makes easy to read the code. And here, the whole block here, we will replace, after I'm finished, I will replace this also with this blocks here. But yeah, just as an info, as a repetition of coding, that you understand you should do this for, yeah, let's say to make it easy. But I hope the other things should be clear. And before that, let me show you one more thing. I'm not sure if we have already made, let's see, if you made this one, your character is probably not dying because we played the die animation. And yes, I think it is dying, sorry. my fault. The next thing that should work, because the next thing what we want to make is that when you accidentally touch the tentacle, let me show you this one too fast.
Let's see if I find
because
this
there are
cultist.
two different there are many ways to die. One is the tentacles goes up, I press B and it comes to me, or accidentally you run into this one, and that one we make in the next one. Then you die too, and you can see right now it's not set up, and that's bad. But it's very easy to set up. But when I press now B again, you can see that was the code what we just made. It screams, you runs away, I run away, and I die. Ah, yes, I have not set up the input and as well this one. This one I show you as well in the next video, where we can go to the start menu. Alright, with that said, I think I stop here this video. You can see this one looks only very difficult. It's very easy because it's just a copy, but here is something very difficult, which I have not mentioned yet, which is how to call this calling place. That will be, yes, there we have to work a little bit. That's really not easy, because after you finish and find out a good way, then it's easy. But to find a real good way how to call this one and all these restraints, it's not so easy. But that's anyway later. Before that, I will show you other steps here. Alright, with that said, if you have any questions, like all time, write in the comment section. See you in the next video, and like all time, have fun and never give up. Bye.